Isla Sorna, home to creatures not seen for ages upon ages, and ages in between. A place of living fossils as wild and dangerous as our world has ever seen. We now return to our pack of Velociraptor Sornaesis, following our main subject, Jinawee, in her adolescent adventures. Sit back and relax. Welcome to another journey on Isla Sorna. Since our last visit with the Sornaraptor pack, some new members have joined old friends, eager to prove themselves to the hierarchy. Botu and Vixel have accepted their new positions, though it's clear that Vixel has received the short end of the deal. She now takes the role as the Pack Omega, an abusive existence to say the least. Last in line for everything, she must now adjust to the sharp, angry focus of her new herd's interactions. The attentive among you might notice that the pack is becoming very large indeed. With every new raptor in the pack, it becomes harder and harder to keep every mouth fed. The pack doesn't know it yet, but they are fast approaching their critical mass and will soon become too large to sustain itself. The delicate balance of predator and prey will soon force hard choices upon the pack leadership. The pack alpha, Howley, is strangely absent from the current congregation. It is unknown at this time where she is due to a tracker malfunction. Not an uncommon problem, as the system is still highly experimental. In her absence, the betas immediately take over, acting in her stead. Jinawee's hawk-sharp eyes pick up on movement in the distance, and she boldly dashes towards it, anticipating the possibility of food. She leaves her packmates struggling to keep up as she lunges after their next meal. Her prey, a Herrerasaurus, is startled by the incoming raptor. After bringing down the Herrera, Jinawee seems to come to a realization. With Howley gone on some mysterious errand, and with the betas nowhere nearby, she stands alone now as Alpha Pro Tempore. As such, she is given the privilege to relish the first bite. Normally, Herrerasaurus isn't on the raptor's particular menu, but the pack is larger than normal, so alternative food sources must be taken into consideration. Suddenly, one of the new members, Botu, cries out a warning as a Suchomimus is discovered nearby. The battle cries of the two dueling herbivores rings loudly through the forest, frighteningly close to the pack. They linger nearby, contemplating the possibility of a second, larger meal. The battle finally concludes with the Shantungosaurus violently crushing the Thorizinosaurus's skull underfoot. It seems that fierce aggression and overconfidence comes with a heavy price. It also appears that a commotion has drawn the Suchomimus from the previous encounter. The creature begins wandering a bit too close for comfort. Perhaps threatened by so many sets of claws and teeth, the Suchomimus plays it safe and waits at a respectful distance for the pack to eat their fill. But they aren't given the chance to do so as a Tyrannosaurus Rex appears on the scene, driving the Sornaraptors from their buffet. After an overlong absence, Howley returns to the pack, re-establishing her dominance with threatening vocalizations. Howley's beta, Talon, also makes an appearance. The clan is now fully reunited, and with every member present, the pack stands 8 raptors strong. Several Tyrannosaurus roars rush across the landscape, setting the pack on edge. But there's something else about here. Something bigger. Our subject lowers herself into a bush, hiding from the presence of something foreign and unnatural. A roar rings out, frighteningly closer than before, and the entire pack panics, sprinting for the higher ground, gripped by terror. Fleeing the scene at top speed, the pack seeks to put as much distance between themselves and this unknown entity. After getting far enough away from the unknown terror, Howley leads the pack to a nearby lake to rest and recover. Now wary of new danger, the pack splits up and scours both sides of the lake for threats, finding only that they are alone. Our night vision camera seems to be on the fritz as our subject moves between the shaded forest and the open fields. The younger Vixel decides to take this downtime as an opportunity to rise in the pack structure and openly challenges the older MultiDavid, who has recently suffered a slight drop in pack status. While Jinawee watches impassively, MultiDavid yields without a fight. Perhaps taking Vixel on her challenge wasn't in his best interest. With Howley and Talon urging the pack onwards, Goat Mom and Jinawee should be loath to fall too far behind the group. Howley snarls reproachfully at them for slowing the pack down, following up with a punishing bite to Jinawee's flank. The pack almost leaves her where she sits, rapidly losing blood and alone. She walks slowly behind them, trying her best to keep the pack in sight. She rests for a moment, cleaning the dirt from her wounds. At this time, she is very vulnerable. Any strenuous movement will only injure her further. Her wounds recover at a tremendous speed. The bleeding is quickly staunched, and she races to return to her pack. The pack scours the countryside, moving from one body of water to the next, constantly on the hunt for new prey. The pack spots a lone Carnotaurus stalking the lakeside. This time, they have the drop on the much larger predator. Having seen her packmates spread through the trees, Jinawee takes a daring risk, goading the Carnotaurus to chase her instead. It was a trap! Intent on catching Jinawee, the Carnotaurus runs directly between two other Sornaraptors, who quickly take advantage of their opportunity and attack. Biting and slashing, the pack quickly turns the tables on the larger predator. As the Carnotaurus weakens, a new danger emerges as the roar of a Tyrannosaurus punctuates their assault. Using its considerable bulk to its advantage, the apex predator pushes the Sornaraptors away from their kill. They watch in strangling frustration as it devours what they had rightfully earned. Howley the Alpha is all but starving nearby. She moves closer to the Rex, attempting to appear as non-threatening as possible, in the hopes of sneaking a bite. Rex, however, is having none of it. He has decided that this is his kill, and his alone. The pack, desperate for food, attempts to drive the Rex off of the kill. The howls of a Therizinosaurus sound nearby. But it seems the pack would rather deal with an adult Tyrannosaurus than go after such dangerous prey. The Therizinosaurus move into the midst of the fray, becoming a hindrance and a hazard to the pack. One swipe of those vicious claws would mean certain death. However, this disruption works in their favor as the Rex is finally pushed away from its food. Jinawee bounds off, pursuing a small something that has risked a peek at the commotion. She hunts and downs a Herrerasaurus, and the kill is promptly taken over by Howley, who is near starvation. In this moment, the pack does not dare to question the Alpha's dominance. The pack stops at a small lake for only a moment before moving on. There is no time to waste. It takes an enormous amount of food to sustain such a large pack. The Sornaraptors travel well through the night and continue well after dawn, moving out of the redwoods and away from Tyrannosaurus territory. As the pack crests a hill, the beta Talon adopts a low stance as something approaches. Moving closer to the ocean, the pack spots a small herd of Velociraptors. Jinawee stalks low through the forest, then suddenly dashes madly through the trees. The attack is a blinding blur of activity. In the ensuing chaos, Vixel is severely wounded. She moves away from the commotion, desperate to regain her energy. But the Velociraptors become more agitated and pushes the pack onto the defensive. One of them seizes the opportunity and lashes out at Vixel. In a moment, it's all over. We can only speculate Jinawee's thoughts as she watched her sibling fall to the horns of the Velociraptors. Jinawee throws caution to the wind and makes daring lunges and rapid charges at the wounded ceratopsids. Her recklessness pays off, and with one final lunge from behind the creature, she drops it to the ground, bleeding and dead. The pack, nearing starvation, waits restlessly as Howley and Talon eat their fill. Once the Alpha and Beta finish eating, the rest of the group moves into a feeding frenzy, leaving Jinawee and Sans fighting for the remaining scraps. A Herrerasaurus is drawn into their commotion and is hastily added to the menu. Howley gathers up her pack and leads them to a nearby hilltop. As the pack breaks into a run, they fall into a much tighter, much more organized formation. A vast difference from Jinawee's first days with the group. The group moves out into the open and spontaneously begin to circle one of their other members. It seems to be a sort of game. One by one, they take turns making false charges at the raptor in the center. But this is no game. This is intelligent, calculated hunting practice. Even the alpha takes part in the game, playing the part of the aggressive predator. Sans and Jinawee use this time to assert their dominance over the former guard, MultiDavid, who has now fallen fully into the rank of Omega. Howley breaks up the show of dominance, reminding everybody who is truly in charge. She waits for signs of submission from each member before allowing the pack to move on. Isla Sorna is no stranger to its own unique accidents. It seems that a flock of gallimimus have run through our decoys, and in the chaos, one of them was too distracted to duck. The hard metal impact must have taken the creature's life. Our decoys can be rather unforgiving. Howley and Talon jealously guard the food, and since the gallimimus has so little meat to begin with, there is nothing left for the rest of the pack after they've finished. Howley returns the pack to the redwood forest, carefully patrolling their territory. As they work their way through the trees, they stumble upon a Therizinosaurus corpse. It would appear the pair seen earlier weren't able to escape unscathed. The pack fights over the remains, and once again, Sans and Jinawee come to blows. Their conflict is thankfully brief, and soon the pair are resting comfortably next to one another. The pack rests and relaxes as night falls, settling in after a long day of hunting. Sornaraptors have an immense pool of stamina, but every creature benefits from a well-deserved nap. We hope you too will enjoy a well-deserved nap and return with us again for our next thrilling adventure in Isla Sorna. While I have you here, thank you so much for watching another episode of Isla Sorna, created by Jinawee. If you like what you've seen, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you didn't like what you've seen, then I'm shocked you made it this far. If you'll closely examine the comments of this video, you'll find a poll. What sort of poll, you may be asking me, Meanie Panini? Well, I will tell you what sort of poll. Jinawee would like your vote on the next dinosaur to create a thrilling Isla Sorna-style adventure of. What sort of dinosaurs are on the list? I don't know. I'm in a sound booth. I don't see the internet. Go and find out yourself, and vote for the next creature you want me to blather about on the next thrilling adventure of Isla Sorna. Tune in next time for the creature that you voted for, and as always, keep doing whatever it is you're doing. It should be said that metal decoys are not without their drawbacks. Here we find a young, impressionable male who in the heat of the mating season was so taken with a particular decoy that he'd forsaken more willing, living partners. After several days of strenuous, impassioned, yet fruitless mating, the male died of starvation. Way to go, lad. Jinawee's hawk-sharp eyes pick up on movement in the distance, and she perhaps taking Vixel on her challenge. Morning. What? Oh, come on. I didn't even... pancakes. Howley snarls. Snarls. The pack spots a lone Carnotaurus stalking the lakeside. The pack spots a large Carnotaurus stalking the lakeside. It was a trap, intent on It was a trap, It was a trap! Intent on catching Jinawee, the Carnotaurus runs directly into between. Oh. She hunts and downs a Herrera.